Welcome to Blockchain Tech and Finance News today. So today, I'm going to be going through the news. We're going to go through the market cap of Bitcoin and some of the top other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, as well as I'm going to go through some articles that I found interesting for this past week and some recent ones that came out within the past few hours or the past day here. If you're on the YouTube side, please do consider smashing the like, subscribing, and checking out the videos that I have every Sunday. I'll be going live by 11:30 a.m. for about 15 to 20 minutes. If there's a longer thing, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes at most. Later in the day, well, actually soon right after, I do a short PUBG mobile stream for a couple hours on Sundays if I feel like it. Otherwise, if you want, the chat's there, you can chat. And I have the recaps on Twitter and here on YouTube as well for this news article. And all the news articles that I read from today are in the description link below on the recap. So when I post this recap video, you'll see the articles in there and you can read through them at your own leisure. So without further ado, let's go on into it. We have on CoinMarketCap, we have Bitcoin. And I have some news about Bitcoin today, about what happened within the past 24 hours. There's about $1 billion liquidated. So we have Bitcoin at $11,135.25, down 3.78%. Ethereum, $368.98, up 3.74%. XRP, 28 cents, up 8.72%. Tether USDT, it's a stable coin, so it floats around 99 cents to a dollar. It's 0.06% up. Bitcoin Cash, $285.65, down 6.94%. Bitcoin SV, $219.72, down 6.72%. Litecoin, $57.04, down 3.55%. Cardano, 13 cents, down 3.55%. Crypto.com coin, 16 cents, down 2.39%. And Chainlink, $8.44, up almost 10%. 9.5%, it's at 9.58% up right now. So if anyone's holding Chainlink, you got that. You got some gains there, it looks like. So over on Yahoo Finance, this article is from Yahoo Finance. It says Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed by more than 12% in 6 minutes as more than 1 billion of positions get liquidated. Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed by 12% and 20% respectively in about 6 minutes as more than $1 billion of positions were liquidated. Bitcoin's price went from $11,930, so almost $12,000, $12,000 range, to $10,000 and $10,550. By press time, the price has now recovered to about $11,400. I mean, you just saw I did the cap on there, what it was currently at the time of this recording. So you have a graph here from Coinbase, obviously from TradeView, Coinbase, Ethereum, and then Ethereum's price range here. So the liquidation's about $1.1 billion worth of future positions of more than 70,000 traders were liquidated across all exchanges, according to market data since to market data site BYBT. Nearly $400 million was liquidated on each OKEX and Huobi, followed by BitMEX, $164 million on BitMEX and Binance, $86 million. So that you can obviously see is people holding futures, basically people kind of going, well, I'm going to set trade sells on Bitcoin, set it and forget it. You know, maybe they bought Bitcoin around $5,000. They've been holding this whole time, and they just kind of said, well, what's my high range? And maybe they set some price sells on Bitcoin, and basically, which it seems like a lot of traders did, and took their profits off the table, causing what we see here, saying to be $1.1 billion of trade positions that liquidated Bitcoin for profits. So largest single liquidation order of $10 million happened on BitMEX's Bitcoin perpetual swap. Most of the liquidations, about $647 million, came from Bitcoin's futures, followed by Ethereum with $165 million of liquidations. So liquidations during the August 2 crash. I mean, obviously you can see here there's some more charts. Again, I'll have these links in the description on the recaps. And you can go through these articles, look through these charts, click on the charts, and get more information on them. So this is, so this article was from Yahoo Finance, from the block on August 2nd, 2020. So basically, main point is Bitcoin went through a massive sell-off, and it's repairing. People are basically going, take my profits off the table, dropping down. Other people are probably entering in, buying in, and whatnot. So Putin signs Russian crypto bill into law. This is from CoinDesk. This is from Anna Baydakova. I think that's how you say your name. The article writer on this. So Russian President Vladimir Putin signed in the first 2 bills on digital assets into law on Friday, according to Russian media. The bill approved by the country's parliament last week says companies can issue digital securities on a blockchain if they are properly registered with the Bank of Russia as issuers and satisfy certain criteria. Second note here is decentralized cryptocurrencies are considered a type of property which should be reported for tax purposes and cannot be used to pay for goods and services. So obviously that's maybe a little bit of a setback. You know, if a business wants to go, well, we want to accept cryptocurrency payments, and they basically got a bill in place that says, well, a good and a service cannot be paid for with Bitcoin, I guess here. Maybe that'll change in the future. We'll see. A more detailed law regulating crypto-related businesses is expected to be passed later this year, although no timeline has been disclosed. The previous version of that bill has been introduced to the Russian parliament, which has been introduced to the Russian parliament, would make it illegal to issue and trade crypto on Russia-based infrastructure. So I'd have to read into more exactly what that means of trading on Russia-based infrastructure. Maybe that has to do with a I don't know. Maybe it has to do with like the goods and services. Maybe maybe they don't even allow cryptocurrency exchanges in their country. I'm not really sure. So what that means, trading on trading crypto on Russia-based infrastructure, I don't necessarily know. There's probably more in depth on that I have to research and find out about, which I will, because it's interesting to me. And maybe you can do that research as well. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give financial advice. You have to do your own research and take caution into these type of marketplaces. Most definitely, especially with the regulations of where you are in the world. So the draft generally reflected a skeptical stance of the country's central bank. It provoked an outcry from the crypto community and criticism from both Russia's Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Economic Development. So obviously there's more to read into about this, but I mean the main points of the bill that I want to, and this is a short article, very brief. I mean obviously you can click these links and see, you know, maybe this outcry, you know, hyperlink will bring you somewhere, and you can check these out in the articles, like I said, when I have on the recaps. But the main point is here that they approved Parliament approved this bill. Companies can issue digital securities on a blockchain if they're properly registered with the Bank of Russia as issuers and satisfy certain criteria. And decentralized cryptocurrencies are considered a type of property which should be reported for tax purposes and cannot be used for goods and services. So basically you can't go into a store and buy something with Bitcoin, essentially is what that kind of means there, which is a bit unfortunate, but in the advancements of cryptocurrency adoption, Bitcoin adoption in society, but we'll have to see long term how things go in certain countries, right? So on this other article here, I have this article and one other article here. I'll be ending the stream for the day. This is from CoinDesk as well. This is from David Pan, writer. David Pan. China aims to be the world's dominant blockchain power with help from Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. So basically the takeaway, China's blockchain infrastructure, BSN, is set to provide global access to its service next month. The network's reliance on U.S. cloud service providers make it vulnerable to geopolitical risks. Rising tensions between the U.S. and China over the last several months could increase such risks. China's developments in other technology areas have been met with resistance from the U.S. government. So, a state-backed blockchain infrastructure project from China aims to be the dominant internet services provider for decentralized applications, dApps. Decentralized applications. Its first mover advantage is significant as the geopolitical risks. The project, called the Blockchain-Based Service Network (BSN), is expanding globally to U.S. as U.S.-China relations become increasingly tense. BSN is a Chinese state-sanctioned blockchain project, but few may realize the network is supported by U.S. technology companies. So, in the last episode, we just saw the Alibaba group, the Ant group, the Jack Ma, founder of these foundations, starting the Ant blockchain. So, I mean, and that is definitely Asian-based over in that part of the world, and especially heavily within China. So how that plays together, you got a state-sanctioned blockchain, but then you have an Ant group launching an Ant blockchain, ANT blockchain. So we'll have to see how that goes. That's going to be interesting how that plays out, because I mean, obviously, one blockchain is a for-profit blockchain, the Ant blockchain, from a for-profit company, and then you have a state-sanctioned one, which is, we'll have to see how that goes, right? How those two play hand in hand with each other. Amazon Web Services, AWS, Microsoft, and Google are among the major cloud service providers for BSN's overseas data centers. I mean, this article is interesting in the least because you have a Chinese regulated authority that's saying, hey, let's make a blockchain, build your decentralized applications on here, build your what's just called dApps or BAPS blockchain applications. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So yeah, again, Amazon Web Services, AWS, that's the cloud server for hosting nodes of a blockchain. Microsoft and Google are among the major cloud service providers for BSN's overseas data centers. So basically, it's like cloud, exactly what it says, cloud servers, hosting blockchain nodes, the protocol, the coding script of running a blockchain node through these web-based services rather than on bare metal machines, which you can do as well. But then you got to keep your machines running basically seamlessly, and you have to have backup machines as well. By machines, I mean like large computers that are processing data of a node rather than using a cloud service like AWS or Google. So this arrangement is notable given the U.S. government's hawkishness on Chinese technology. The Trump administration is considering a ban on Chinese social media app TikTok. Congress approves $1 billion for rural telecom carriers to ditch services from Huawei, I'm not sure. And the U.S. Commerce Department restricted semiconductor companies from providing chips to this region of China. Or it's a company? Looks like a region of China. At Wednesday's House antitrust hearing, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg painted the China-U.S. tech competition as a zero-sum game. According to Zuckerberg, China is building its own version of the internet, focused on different ideas, and they are exporting their vision to other countries. I mean, that's nothing new really there. I mean, you even see like Facebook doing the, and Zuckerberg doing the, just whatever that blockchain is. I knew what it was before. Libra blockchain. Sorry, it was on the tip of my tongue, and I was like, I just haven't focused on it because you don't hear much about it after they had that big boom on it, and then the U.S. government was kind of like, you know, you're not going to launch a Libra cryptocurrency or any sort of blockchain or something until, you know, you got full, like, whatever the government wants to say about the Facebook deal with their blockchain. I'll look into it. I'll look into Libra blockchain, and we'll talk about it more, see what's going on with it on another episode. So this charged environment could potentially spell trouble for BSN. China tries to grab the lead in blockchain and dominate this domain that may end up putting this BSN project further into the spotlight of the U.S.-China tech competition, says Paul Triolo, practice head of geotechnology at Eurasia Group. So this would be the perception in places like Washington, and he added. U.S.-China technology competition has been ongoing for decades, but the focus is shifting from search engines and social media to more fundamental levels of technology like telecom equipment provided by Huawei, Triolo said. I'm going to look into this. I don't know if there's a company or just a region of China that they're talking about where a lot of tech-based products and services are issuing out of. Tension between the U.S. and China reached fever pitch earlier this month as the U.S. shut down the Chinese consulate in Houston, and China took over the U.S. consulate in Chengdu in retaliation. In a recent speech, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, slammed U.S.-China engagement as a failure. It's unclear whether these tensions will calm in the near future. even if the U.S. president is elected. If a new U.S. president is elected, or if Trump's reelected. Even if we get a new administration in the U.S., for example, under former Vice President and Democratic nominee Joseph Biden, there's still going to be a lot of scrutiny in China from the technology front, Triolo said. That's kind of just getting into really complicated waters, like political waters, and there's a real risk that technology that doesn't present a national security risk will nonetheless be banned because of politics, said Graham Webster, China Digital Economy Fellow at New America, a think tank with a focus on public policy issues. So we'll have to see if this BSN project is like something that's banned in the U.S., which I don't know how you can like necessarily ban something like that anyways, because again, I can go over and people use VPNs and I don't use a VPN, but you know, if I really needed a VPN, I would use it. But using a VPN and going over to use other countries' services and internet technologies, or vice versa, China, you know, accessing, you know, like Netflix or Facebook or something, where otherwise it's blocked or banned. So Amazon, Google, and Microsoft did not return requests for comment by press time. So in containment, one way to limit Chinese tech companies from growing and developing global services is to pressure their supplier to sever ties with them. The U.S. prohibited Huawei's major provider, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, from using American tools to make chips if it produces any product for Huawei. The Chinese company denounced the move as a pernicious decision. BSN could potentially end up in a similar situation, given the prominence of American firms as it oversees data center hosts. So, yeah, I mean, whether it gets blocked, but I mean, again, like Microsoft and Amazon AWS are global companies doing global business in trade, services, hosting of cloud services like that, like we see on Amazon AWS. That's another big income for Amazon, because you got Amazon's people often think, well, Amazon is just something that you buy and sell stuff on this website called Amazon.com. Well, no, I mean, Amazon actually has a whole technology-based hosting section for what I'm talking about, hosting nodes by, you know, hosting blockchain nodes. So basically, you can build your script, your JSON files. You can look more into that, JSON files. Through Google, what's a JSON file, and hosting those JSON files and those Git repository protocols that are being forked and then dumped over into Amazon AWS servers to run a blockchain node that's functioning with another node, that's talking with another node, and these nodes are talking together and running the chain. So the chain of nodes that's moving data, that's encrypting, and that's what a blockchain is. And further down from there, it's based on binary code and hashing rates and transactions. The Chinese network those hashing rates are like hashing keys that are hashing wallets and addresses upon them. People are creating a wallet address, so, and a cryptocurrency wallet. You know, so whether the BSN has a cryptocurrency tied to it, maybe it's this Chinese cryptocurrency they're talking about, I don't really know at this point. It's too early to tell, but I will follow this long term. The Chinese network does not build or own any of the data centers where it runs its technical infrastructure. 90% of BSN's domestic data centers are provided by the telecom company China Mobile. Most overseas data centers will be provided by Amazon AWS, given the scope of the cloud services providers' operations across the globe, according to BSN. So there's Amazon being the conglomerate company it's being in the space, corporate finance-wise. BSN pays these cloud services providers to use their services and integrates the servers with their software. So you can read more. Obviously, it has another hyperlink here. Read more inside China's plan to power global blockchain adoption. There's another article, hyperlink there. The network has 2 data centers hosted by AWS in China. It also uses a few global centers built on Microsoft's cloud computing, ARM, and Google Cloud platform. So Google Cloud is also another place that some providers and blockchain are running their nodes through Google Cloud and paying for Google for their services month to month, or how much data is being processed on their cloud node, as well as for AWS. And the fees can get quite hefty, especially. So they're making money. Amazon and Google are definitely making money in that sector. A blockchain. App developers can more quickly and easily access services from BSN if they use a data center that is physically close to them. That's why overseas data centers are crucial in terms of providing internet services for the global blockchain community. So that's true right there. It's tying, the speed of efficiency of what's being used together in a blockchain space of what's being built upon them for services, decentralized applications, dApps, and BApps, blockchain application services. If I were to the Chinese, so maybe for like example, before I read on about this, maybe tracking fish. Maybe there's a developer who's tracking the trade of salmon or swordfish, for example, or tilapia, whatever it is, tuna, on the blockchain, where it's coming from, where it's going to, and this application is built on could be built on BSN. Sorry, my daughter was crying in the background. I had to help her with some little show thing she was watching or something like that that turned off. But anyways, ongoing about this, like I was saying, the developer of this application has tracking fish, albeit it can be built upon this BSN services as a blockchain application service and hosted. The nodes of the blockchain are hosted through Amazon AWS and Google Cloud, which is the data of the blockchain of what's going on with the fish and the transaction and stuff that is basically going through these nodes that are hosted upon Amazon AWS and Google Cloud that are the nodes of the BSN blockchain. And the BAP is built upon the blockchain. That's how it connects together. I'll talk about that more long term about how blockchain nodes work and stuff like that if I find pertinent articles that relate accordingly that are good to use upon this show channel in these episodes. If I were the Chinese company, I would be careful about setting up a system that really depends on continued services in the US. Webster said anybody who wants to use the global version of the Chinese network should take into account the risk that a data center in the US could get taken off the network because of geopolitics. Politics, I mean, yeah, yeah. One motivation for curbing Chinese tech companies' global expansion is data security concerns. Blockchain technology clearly provides a structurally unusual level of security and integrity, but there is a battle ongoing over data localization and cloud services, says James Molnevon, Director of Intelligence Integrations at SOS Technology, a Washington, D.C.-based defense and intelligence company that supports U.S. government agencies. The world is clearly becoming a splinter net with national boundaries and domestic regulations overturning the previous techno-globalism motive. Whatever this person's, sorry, I don't want to butcher his name. This is what he said, in quote, apparently. U.S. cloud providers offer services to a wide range of clients that is hard to tell what specific cybersecurity concerns would exist if they allow Chinese companies to use their services, Webster said. It's however how secure the cloud, what's being built upon the cloud services. I mean, that's kind of the coding and what type of files and JSON protocols, if they're JSON files or whatever technology, usually like Java, right? Is what's being used on here. Or Python. So far, BSN's global expansion has not met with challenges from US regulators, perhaps because it is relatively new, or maybe it's just that few Washington lawmakers can actually make sense of it. Yeah, that's a yeah. That's a pretty right-on statement right there that, US Washington lawmakers, they just don't even really what's a blockchain? What's these cloud services? What is this stuff? I write into laws, and I got to have all these technology people start talking to me now, and they're starting talking all this like coding gibberish, and I don't know what to make sense of it. So I mean, that's a pretty accurate statement right there. That a lot of these Washington politicians and lawmakers, they have no clue about technology, and they would really need advisement from someone like from this intelligence service, Washington D.C. based intelligence service, or maybe more technically inclined developers who can put it kind of in a way that your grandmother can slice bread or something like that type of understanding in an easy way. Part of the reason that BSN has not, okay, so I read that part, yeah. The U.S. government is considering restricting Chinese cloud services companies from operating in the U.S., but has yet to address the question of U.S. companies hosting applications that have a China connection. So I mean, that would really suck for Amazon and you know, Google if the government was saying, "Hey, you can't do business with China over here because we don't want you to, and so you're not allowed to. So here's a regulation." I mean, that's kind of that's politics getting in the way of business, right? For basically for-profit political reasons in the U.S. We'll see. Last May, the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) denied China Mobile's application to operate telecommunications services in the U.S. This could mean Chinese businesses trying to build cloud-based networks in the U.S. need to be aware of the geopolitical risks. Said James Mulvenon, Director of Intelligence Integrations at SOS International, a DC. I don't know why they're stating where he's from again. They already said that. I'll be more wary about big investments in these kind of transnational cloud networks because regulators seem very grumpy about them right now. So yeah, basically, if you're like a company or an individual developer going gung-ho into like, I'm going to start using these services, I'm going to start building over here, I'm going to start doing this, and then the next thing you know, your services as a company are shut down to your clients or your customers. That's not good. That's not good, especially if it's because of geopolitical issues and happenings. As we know, the trade tariffs put on there, maybe technology trade tariffs, right? Too expensive. Don't want the Chinese in the U.S. building stuff. We want the U.S. building their own stuff, hosting their own stuff, and things like that. I mean, I've always said, hey, it'd be really interesting if Bitcoin had a layer built upon it for issuing out smart contracts upon it, and like a side chain or a secondary layer of Bitcoin, or advancing the Bitcoin blockchain if possible, that allows for decentralized applications and blockchain applications in the scaling of a Bitcoin blockchain, right? So then, another utility of Bitcoin. So, I mean, this article's almost over. I don't know if I want to, I don't know. Lawmakers do have concerns, might be reassured the fact that even the Chinese government does ask for data from BSN nodes hosted overseas. It may not be able to get it. Okay, there you go. If something like illegal is happening upon the blockchain and it's affecting things in the US or something, like maybe like, I don't know, like laundering in an encrypted space or something, or a digital token that's built upon this thing as a blockchain application that's then got breaking some laws or doing something illegal in trade, or there's shady things going on around it, maybe like drugs or human trafficking or something, that could be an issue where there is a problem getting the data. So that is a legitimate concern there. Yeah, sure. The Chinese government certainly believes that Chinese companies operating abroad, even when they are incorporated abroad, are subject to Chinese law, he said. Sure, yeah, that too. Theoretically, the Chinese government would solicit data from a Chinese company, like the one behind BSN, regardless of where it is run, meaning it could ask for data stored on the network's overseas data centers. However, Red Date, the tech firm that architected the BSN's technical framework, has claimed the network does not have access to user data due to its technical structure. So, I mean, that is part of data privacy, right? Red Date CEO Yifan has previously told CoinDesk that the BSN's technical framework fully protects its users' data privacy and functions like an adapter that better connects developers with data centers where they can run nodes and build applications. He even invited skeptics to examine the network's code for themselves. The China Connection, the BSN Development Association, is led by the State Information Center of China, SIC, a public institution under the National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, the highest economic planning committee in China. State-owned tech conglomerates China Mobile and China UnionPay are also deeply involved in building the network. It is certainly rare to get a government affiliate to endorse and lead the effort for a large-scale blockchain infrastructure, and for two of the largest Chinese tech giants to support the network. However, unlike China's national digital currency, higher level government agencies such as Chinese Central Bank and the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China, MIIT, do not appear to be involved in BSN yet. So that's another thing I was wondering about, is what's going to happen there. About more government agencies, if they're going to get involved or not. The precise nature of the relationship between the Chinese government and BSN is not clear. So that's what I was kind of wondering. Is this a Chinese government? I thought it was a Chinese regulated, but so it's kind of like I'd have to look more into this. So it's not really clear, obviously, but given BSN's state connection, its reliance on major U.S. cloud services providers could be a point of contention in the Chinese side as well. No foreign firms sit on the BSN leadership committees. As stated in official documents, Beijing intends for BSN to be a global infrastructure network autonomously innovated by Chinese entities, according to a May report from the Eurasia Group. So that's this right here. China aims to be the world's dominant blockchain power with help from Google and Amazon, Microsoft. Going to this last article. This is from Market Insider, from Matthew Fox. Why stocks will hit all new time highs within months, according to FundStrat's Tom Lee. With strong earnings reports from the FANG stocks on Thursday. If you haven't heard of FANG stocks, go ahead and look into what FANG stocks are. You can learn more about that. I'll talk about FANG stocks eventually as well. On Thursday, coupled with the ongoing reopening of the U.S. economy, earnings visibly set to increase. That will help drive the stocks market to all new time highs later this year, according to FundStrat's Tom Lee. In an interview on Friday with CNBC's Scott Wapner, I don't know. Lee said that many investors are ignoring an upcoming binary event that has a high probability of success, a breakthrough in the development of treatment or vaccine for COVID-19. Lee said investors should have exposure to sectors that are hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic because in a world where there's a vaccine or cure, they've got defendable businesses. So investors could prepare for all new time highs in the stock market and have exposure to both FANG stocks and the so-called epicenter stocks for companies that were hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So basically market corrections that are, correcting back up. That's according to FundStrat's Tom Lee, who said in an interview that Thursday's blockbuster earnings reports from Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Google parent Alphabet, coupled with the ongoing reopening of the U.S. economy, set the stock market up well for the rest of the year. We've got the FANG, which is 20% of the S&P 500 market cap. We've got secular growth in tech posting good earnings. And now if the economy is going to safely reopen, there's enough visibility for earnings growth to improve. That's how we get to all-time highs, Lee told CNBC Scott Wapner on Friday. Lee highlighted that while large cap tech stocks may look expensive relative to bonds, they're actually cheap. According to Lee, the 10-year U.S. Treasury trades at a price-earnings multiple of 180x, while corporate bonds trade at a price-earnings multiple of 40x. So FANG's actually pretty cheap as a bond proxy, Lee said. Lee advised investors to continue holding exposure to FANG and other secular growth stocks, saying they make up 20% of the S&P earnings. Obviously, we already said that. So they're not expensive versus the market, he said. Lee also recommended investors buy stocks in discretionary sectors like the casinos and theme parks. Okay. Unless the economy keeps getting shut down. I think if cases are plateauing and the economy moves forward, 60% of earnings growth are going to come from four groups, the epicenter sectors, and these are are under-owned and historically really are the trade you want to rotate into. Yeah, unless the freaking economy really gets shut back down. I mean, we have to really see. I mean, again, most people are saying the economy's reopening. Obviously, you see people gathering back together in like Florida and stuff like that, doing this and that. Places opening up in Texas, and California, and then they're being shut back down. Relative to this, a camp opens up in the U.S. and then 40% of the kids are testing positive for COVID. A school opens back up, and within hours, it's shut back down based upon COVID exposures and COVID testing. So, I mean, to be honest, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to give you financial advice. Do your own research, but this could go one or two ways. Working out like they're saying, or shut down and not working out and having more struggles. but we hope for the best, right? Obviously, they're noting vaccine in here as well for COVID-19 as a precursor to success in these markets. Lee said investors should be buying epicenter stocks because investors have very little exposure to them, even as they make up 25% of the S&P 500. Lee added that many investors are ignoring an upcoming binary event that has high probability of success, a breakthrough in the development of a treatment or vaccine for COVID-19. So that's what I was just saying right there. This is like, we're making this vaccine, it's going to work, it's going to do like this. I know they are in trials of it. I have read that. So about, a promising vaccine that's going to work for combating against COVID-19 infections and death rates. So that's riding on this, and we just don't know yet. If that happens, expect consumers to become less fearful and feel more comfortable going out and spending, and investors to rotate out of growth and into the epicenter stocks. So that's this article here. That's all I had for the news today. I will be back next Sunday with more of this news. Again, all these articles will be in the description link below on these. So please do check us out. Look at the episodes. I'll have the recaps with the description links of all these articles in the description below. I'll be posting on Twitter, and you see it on the playlist here in Blockchain Tech and Finance News on YouTube. So please do consider subscribing, smashing the like. I'll see you next Sunday. Once more, cheers. Peace be with you. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. God bless your kind heart.